Welcome to Breaking Initiative. My name is Brett. Crap, shitface, turd monkeys. Again. Here we go. Take 3. All right. Welcome to Breaking Initiative. Don't forget to like, subscribe. We are on Apple Podcasts. We are on Spotify. We are on Castbox.
You are making them up now.
You
actually are making them up now.
That's not made up. Check it out. We are actually on Castbox. My name is Brett.
And I'm Rob. This is the show where we break down our own tips and tricks to help you get the most out of your tabletop games. We bring you news from around the community, talk about our own tabletop experiences. We're still in our sort of new studio area. We're seeing how it works out. We're testing out the green screen for stuff. And I'm just gonna, right now, for instance, we just moved into a dungeon.
I edit this. Don't do that.
Look,
no, we didn't.
Swimming.
No, I'm not doing that.
I'm gonna catch a football that's being thrown to me.
I'm not doing any of that.
It's just gonna be just a green screen behind us.
I'm gonna make a generic background behind us, and that's what's gonna be behind us, Rob.
It's not fun.
No, it's not fun. It's a lot of work.
All right. Well, I thought you were a video editor. I'm sorry.
I don't want to be. I don't want to be. I just want to do photography. People keep showing up and giving me video jobs. I'm enslaved to it.
So what are we talking about today, Brett?
Slavery to the corporation, to the man. No. Actually, I'm out of that. Anyways, we are talking about how to start campaigns, kind of tropes, maybe new, and also some new creative ways to start a campaign.
Yes.
Because I think we always want to go with the normal
particularly from the perspective of a DM. I feel like most of our stuff is for DMs, isn't it? I was going through it, and I was building the playlists on our YouTube channel. I realized almost everything we do is focused on the DM. I want to at least give some advice for players starting out. But
the last episode, you gave him a character. Oh, that was for the DM. The DM would use that.
Yeah, I did. I actually at the end I was like, the DM can use this as an NPC. No, but so yeah, from the perspective of DM, building a perfect way to start the campaign is really what sets things in motion. It's the thing that the players remember the most, inspires them to not only go on the adventure, but also to like their characters. If they love their character as they're making it in character creation, and your campaign kind of has like this really weak start, it can kind of put a sour taste in their mouth. They'll be like, oh, maybe everyone didn't like my character because I don't know how he fits into all this.
Right.
And I think that takes us into the perfect place to start, which is making sure that your players know what the heck we're actually going to be playing.
Right, yeah.
Because if they don't, they're going to make something that has nothing to do with any of the goals of the campaign.
Right.
And you're going to find somebody who wants to I've said this example before. Stop me if I have. But I guess it's the perfect example. You might have one person that just wants to start an orphanage, right? And the rest of the party just wants to go in the dungeon and fight. Or maybe one other guy wants to undo the hierarchy of the criminal underworld or something, or maybe even become it. And everyone has their own goals. And now suddenly you're like, what my character would do is not hang out with these guys.
I kind of feel like we dove into a different topic.
No. It's how to avoid that, really. What would you do to avoid that from happening? Crashing the campaign at the beginning.
So session 0,
Yes.
I had to do this with kids, actually, with the explanation of you guys need to come together with a common goal. There can't be this, well, my character would completely leave the party, or my character hates that character.
Right.
And I hit that, or I want to punch that character, or I fight that character.
Right.
We're not like there needs to be a good reason. It's not just, oh, well, that's what my character would do. There needs to be just a rule of like, yeah, we just don't do that. Like player versus player, we just don't do it unless there's a really good reason to. And I would, even as the DM, kind of check in with the person that, let's just say, they are creating this problem.
Right.
I would check in with them and to go like, hey, look, listen, are you okay? Like, are you just having a bad day? Because is it you're just having a bad day and you're acting like a jerk through your character? Or are you just really trying to have some fun and you feel like this is something good to do? You know what I mean?
Right.
Because I feel like sometimes, we all work jobs and these kind of things. Sometimes, like, we have bad days and we take that into our game. And then we're more antsy and we're frustrated and we're annoyed.
Yeah.
And we put that through our character. Well, my character's pissed off. Why is he pissed off? Because Janet in HR is a jerk.
You can't
ripped
predict.
me up.
You're not going to be able to predict that in all your players.
Right. No.
Yeah, we can't be their therapists.
Right. Yeah. No.
So-
right.
Instead, a great thing to focus on, like for instance, the example of the paladin on the same party as the warlock of that sort of paradox, if you will. Without any other context, those two players suddenly have a reason to not be with each other in a lot of classic examples of those two archetypes.
Yeah.
And those are two archetypes that are presented and encouraged in the player's handbook. Even though there's different ways to do paladins, you can make evil paladins and warlocks of deities.
Oath of Redemption?
Right.
No, Oath of Vengeance.
Oath of Vengeance is a great example. Well, there's actually some other ones like Oath of Conquest or something like that. But the you just imagine, like in popular media, even how do they get those two kinds of characters to accomplish goals with each other? And the easiest way is something I think we touched on before. It is it's something I've been doing for a while. I think it seems to be something they do in like Critical Role and a lot of other popular thank you. A lot of popular shows I've seen. I like to watch a lot of the beginnings of them to get good ideas for how to start. And that is to make sure everybody, I call it the buddy system.
Right.
Everybody has some sort of relationship with somebody else in the party. Not necessarily everyone, but at least one.
Right.
Usually that encourages two groups of people. It's this phenomenon where they go into these two like cliques, which aren't bad cliques, and it for some reason always seems to work out where they feel like these strong bonds with certain characters, and sometimes you get a bridge character, and DM has to step in to create that.
Yeah.
These are always these sort of homebrew backstory reasons. The reason everyone's together is the glue at the beginning of the game, and it can be really hard if it's not spelled out in the adventure. Like you're all part of a thieves guild. You're all part of the same military.
You're already in an established group of mercenaries.
Right. But I'm finding that's becoming less and less popular. And it's more popular to have everybody with their own unique stories that are slightly aligned with each other. And then I call it the bridge of these two groups that inevitably show up if you have more than 4 players. Sometimes it's just everybody's together. You know, like the freaking Fantastic Four or whatever. Everyone just happens to be either a brother, a sister, a lover, or a friend.
I mean, Critical Role Campaign 3 did it. I mean, they did it really well. There was Lagna and Imogen. Then it was like Fresh Cut Grass, fantastic name, and Talison's character. He's probably one of my worst ones. I mean, he's okay. And then the 3 from Exandria Unlimited, they were already together. They had it. They did that exact thing. So they were already grouped together.
Right.
And so that kept them from, like that at least kept the group. And then once you throw in a good cleric that actually heals, that also, like, there's your bridge. I feel like there's a little alley-oop to the DM, or at least an alley-oop to the game of like, oh, well, your first fight, oh, that person just hurt somebody, or that person just got hurt, and then the healer comes over and heals. Well, who's this new friend that they just created a friend, obviously.
Right. You can also, if you want to make it more set in stone at the beginning, do something I did in one of my most recent campaigns I ran as a DM, which was I found these two groups. There was like these brothers, and then you had these two companions that were like at war with like together for a long time, and these two brothers were trying to interpret a dream, so they had to go visit like this enclave of druids, which were those two people.
Right.
So that need brought them together.
Right.
Which launched the quest to go to where it was that they needed to go to get this dream interpreted, which launched this completely different story, but now they're all in it together right at the beginning.
Yeah.
And so you can take, as a DM, these two, it takes a little creativity to find these two groups of characters. Maybe one of them has a problem and the other one has a solution. The paladin must defeat this great evil. And this other group that's a little grayer, that somehow naturally evolved from everybody talking amongst themselves in Mission Zero. Maybe he's friends with that guy's with a brother of somebody who is like a warlock of the pact of like it's some sort of infernal pact or something.
Right.
And wouldn't you know it, he happens to know just what he needs to be able to complete the mission moving forward of defeating
like
this
the
great
warlock
evil.
actually helps the paladin, and like, oh yeah, I know that evil guy. Yeah, he's my guy. He owes me $5.
Now they have a reason to stay together,
Right.
Even though they hate each other, they won't kill each other.
Here's
Probably.
the thing. Actually, I like the idea. I really like breaking out of the alignment system.
Yeah.
I like it. I like, hey, how do you want to play your character for no other reason of like, well, I just hate evil. And then the other one's like, well, I kind of dabble in a little bit of evil. But but like the whole,
I'm a little bit rock and roll.
pretty much. I just feel like the overly holy characters, they're just downers. I mean, they eventually just become downers. I mean, you can have that, you can play that role to some degree, but I feel like I like the idea of playing it more as a wholesome character who's with more like they're just with a bunch of partiers. Compared to like, well, there's this one holy person who has this thing against, anything that is evil in any way, shape, or form, even the bloodline of something that's evil, like tieflings. Like, oh, I don't even like them.
Avoid like racist characters that are like, for some reason, every so often I get this player who's like, I don't like elves. I'm racist against elves. Isn't that an interesting character development?
Well, yeah, like, no, it's not.
It's really not interesting.
No, and I mean, I guess if they're trying to do something for role playing, that's okay.
Yeah.
And like, even like my character, my character in Strahd has like this thing against his own family, who's elves, but he doesn't have like.
So want to kill them because he thinks that they were responsible for his parents' death or something.
No, but he plays into the idea of the overly lawfulness
Right.
that the elves were, that whatever, and so like he's like, I just don't like it. I don't like it. It makes me come,
Right.
which is just a reflection of me. Like I just don't like overly lawful, like corrective people. I like shy away from that kind of stuff.
Right.
And so I think playing the common tropes of like the evil and then like, or somebody who just fights evil, like it just if things aren't established well in the very beginning, I think it can I don't know, it cannot sit well, like
Yes.
then it's like now you have other players that are like they're almost on eggshells around this,
Right.
around this person, or vice versa, where it's like you have the super holy person who's on eggshells around like this super evil person, where it's like, I don't know. I like the idea of like not, I don't know, kind of staying out of that. Creating other things, like create other things for role play.
Right. It can be really easy to see. We find stuff for players here. Yeah, it's not just all DM stuff.
Right. We just turn this into players.
Yeah, somehow it evolved into that. It can be really easy to pick a strong trigger for your character to help you get into character to get into character for your character. And it's like that's not right. By just picking some sort of strong emotion, like I remember back in the day, it was Aarakocras are like terrified of going indoors and closed spaces because it makes them like that was like a rule that was written in the game.
Got it.
So it's like people would just play that extra hard, like, I can't go in the dungeon. Boy, now we can't continue. And it would just derail the game. Like that kind of stuff been taken to an extreme, but we're going to be like, maybe he's like a little shaky or something when he goes in the dungeon or something.
Right.
Don't always just go to the extreme of like, it's a rule your character has to follow or else you're not playing the game right. Make it like a real life. Like, you're afraid of spiders. You're not going to like vomit and pass out every time a spider comes by. You're just going to be a little antsy and still be able to fight.
You know, maybe you grab a drink or two before you go in. You know, you role play it up to like, hey, I got to get over the nerves because I know, you know, as a group we need to go there.
But particularly with the other characters in the party, try not to, and Mission Zero, try not to make anything that is absolutely antagonistically against one of the other players. I think that the rest of it will work itself out if the DM takes the advice of encouraging you to try to find one character that you have some sort of relationship with. So that's some good advice for players.
Pair them up.
Good advice for a DM trying to build the players into a cohesive party. You also used a word a moment ago, trope.
Yeah.
When you're talking about like the tropes of like alignment, but that's also a good sequitur into something else that's really helpful for getting the players into character, into the idea of what your world is about, and into the idea of getting on this adventure.
Yeah,
tropes.
Which
aren't bad. That's not necessarily a bad thing.
No. It's how to start the party, how to bring the party together.
Right.
So the common one is you meet in a tavern.
Meet in a tavern. I love it. I never get sick of it. It makes because close your eyes at home.
Okay.
Imagine.
Wait, I'm not home.
Imagine you're at home. Now your eyes are closed. Now imagine that you're in a tavern in a fantasy setting in the village of...
That's a cat person.
Yeah, you see? You're already... everyone is imagining that cliche trope. Okay, wait. Sorry. We're filming this a little late.
The cliche trope, go ahead.
So what it does, it's a nice aid to allow everybody to instantly imagine pretty much the same thing. It's like reading a book, right? Yeah. You read the words on the page, suddenly you imagine the same thing. You don't have to go into 2 paragraphs to describe the setting.
Everybody knows what a tavern
now
looks like.
Everybody's ready to focus on what the story is about to be instead of focusing on what is this weird magical place with flying rocks and rats with star-shaped ears that the DM wrote into his homebrew world, and everybody flies around using the power of their glowing tails. It's like so much overload. I want it to be unique. I want to make this unique setting. It's new. I don't want to do a tavern again.
A tavern.
Just put that, whatever that was you just thought of, and just put it in a tavern at the beginning. Fantastic. I know it's tropey, and you've all done it a million times.
Well, and so here's the cool thing about it, is like you have multiple ways to start. It's you meet this person in the tavern,
right?
And then they literally
the old man with the treasure map, or you were supposed to meet somebody, and he's mysteriously not there. It's been an hour, and now everyone's looking at you.
Or another way is to really is a fun way to do the tavern is as you have your buddy system as they come in and even sit differently, a fight breaks out.
Right.
A bar brawl.
That's a classic right there, yeah.
And then it's like, but yet you have to create this like obviously douchebag jerk who's starting it, and then he has a little bit of his clan, and he's messing with somebody who he seems as innocent, who's, maybe the whatever, if there's like a girl in the group or the small person or whatever, but then you have this idea of like, oh, now the other people it's kind of alley-oop to them to step up and, hey, you're messing with these people? Why? You seem like a jerk. And then okay, everybody roll initiative. You guys are friends now.
Right. Yeah, I think something similar happened even in Campaign 2. I think that started in a tavern, didn't it? And Campaign 2 of Critical Role?
Campaign... Yes. They did.
They started in a tavern, and they were in 2 different sort of groups.
Yes.
And then the bridge happens at the beginning where they, one of them goes over and talks to the other group, and suddenly things happen. And that's how it works. And then they have this. They both these individual groups started with the same goal, going to this fair or whatever. And to see this performance. And so now they're all going together. Now you've got them all moving in the same direction, so you can get them off of their feet and in the same goal where suddenly something happens.
Yep.
Which is another cliche you can do of everything's going fine until this very moment that the whole campaign shifts. And that it's a great way to launch the campaign into a very decidedly specific direction. This isn't what you start with. You allow the players to get comfortable with their characters. And then suddenly, sometimes it's shocking. Sometimes it can be something that surprises, something unexpected of everybody around. Like they thought one thing was going to happen, and then something else happens. That sort of response, it's a call to action. Mm-hmm. I sometimes call it the naked man running in the street. It's something that's so obviously in your face that it is impossible for the party to ignore it at all.
Okay. Yeah, and actually, it was a great way how they started in Critical Role, actually in Campaign 3. Yeah. It was, they all did their little backstory. They all kind of talked and did something else all around this town. And then kind of as they were sort of starting to get closer as a party, this thing happens, and then all of a sudden there's a fight happening right there in the middle of town. I'm not going to give too much away. And then that's how they all came together. Because, they all have, special abilities to possibly help. Everybody else is running and scattering, And so then it was, one by one, they all rolled initiative, and then all of a sudden, then they kind of were fighting, and also, who are you helping me? Thank you, Mr. Bard friend. And then they became best friends. Mm-hmm. So
and that same last campaign I just used as an example that I ran as a DM, my suddenly happened thing was in fact they were on a boat to this new land, and they meet this NPC who's like, I'm trying to avenge my father. I made it super cliche. I almost wanted to play up this trope of it's like my DM PC, he's so cool, too cool for school guy. There's this epic Viking guy, and he's trying to avenge his father by killing this guy, called the peacekeeper of Flotnar, right? But he says, if you want to help me, come find me in a little bit. Go about your business so we don't raise suspicion, and then meet me in front of the tavern. And we'll confront this son of a bitch.
Right.
Kind of thing. And so they go off and do the thing. They come back. The guy's already, on a spike. Completely dead. Pierced on a spike. And this peacekeeper guy has his eye on them now. And he's threatening them. If you make one move, this is what I do. Just to anybody that even poses the smallest amount of threat to this village or me.
Right.
And he just superimposing what a character introduction for the first arc antagonist.
Yeah. That's good.
That guy you thought was going to be your friend, he's already dead, and he's bleeding. He's got the spike coming through his jaw. He's dead. So that's suddenly something happened, and then of course they wanted to get their revenge on him.
I have a question. What do you think about DMing or what do you think about stories and campaigns that start with no equipment?
The funniest thing is I was actually planning on running a one-shot eventually, and that was actually one of the things I wanted to bring up. Yes, I have loved this idea to almost the point where it's become cliche, and I've seen people try to do it, and I've actually done it, where it started. I started to love this idea back in Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. There's this little island, this little hidden island you can go to. If you land there, you temporarily lose all your equipment and have to solve all these puzzles and stuff. But these monsters, you're such a high level at this point that it's nothing's. You're really kind of in your comfort zone. Suddenly, all this stuff's taken away. It's hard to get players into a position of that. There's two easy ways to do it that are very common.
Do you ever start a campaign like that?
Starting a campaign like that, the best way is the good old Elder Scrolls way. in prison.
In prison.
You
yes.
are incarcerated.
Yes.
And all of your stuff has been taken away, and it's up to you to use your wits to find some stuff. It almost feels a little cheap to do that to your players because some of them are way more powerful without equipment than others.
Right, like spellcasters.
Right.
That might have, like, their arcane focus might be on them. I mean...
Or not. And now they can't cast any spells and they have to slap people.
Or monks. Monks
are just instantly, I'm good to go. I can take off this loincloth and I will be maybe more effective.
Right,
yes.
That's be my 4th strike.
Yes. Okay.
Too far.
Too far. No, so now I'm picturing that. But yeah, so you see, you have to
it was a woman.
Resist the urge to just take everything away and then not think of a way for them to all at least get combat capable before halfway through the first mission. Right. They have to get combat capable, able to get the similar things to be able to at least move the campaign forward.
Yeah.
Besides just the clothes on their back. Sword from a guard. Arcane focus could just be like some crystal in a jar somewhere they find while they're sneaking around.
Or general good material. You know what I mean? That like this is what I need to do some.
It could be a planted mistletoe in the corner, or like mistletoe hanging over the balcony for the druid. Suddenly they have their arcane focus. But to come up with some ideas like that, so they're not completely useless. I know it can seem a little obvious, but you're really taking a lot away from them by taking all their stuff.
Yeah. And as a player who plays probably more than I play, way more than I DM, I hate it. I hate it. I freaking hate it. It's like I have I went and I spent 2 hours making this guy and I have my starting equipment. Okay, I think I'm good to go. Oh yeah, so you come in and you have nothing and you are stripped of everything and everything's gone. I hate that. I just how do I just get to that? I will make irrational decisions to get me back to my stuff.
I did that one. I think you were part of it. And it was like my second 5th edition campaign where there was this whole excursion where everyone landed on this island, and all you had was a burlap sack around your body, and all your stuff was missing.
Thank goodness I multi-classed into Warlock, and you let me just like, oh yeah, you still have a thing with your patron, sure. And so
it was supposed to be another dimension, this island, and I almost said no, but I let you.
It was just that was already torturing.
It was the point, really. I wanted your characters to feel like you're really stuck and dying, and you as well, dying of just 4 missions of...
I didn't want to show up to the comic book store and play the game.
So that's why you should be careful. It was an experiment of mine. But the idea was they had to find all the stuff around the island, get creative, come up with creative solutions.
We did. It was okay. I mean, actually, that was probably one of the more memorable parts of the campaign. Doesn't mean it was good. I mean, that's pretty much the definition of trauma as a child, Rob, is remembering anything to a certain age is like, actually, if you remember anything around that age, it probably means something really bad.
One thing to make it up to your players, especially if you start your campaign this way, because that was an example of it happening like at level 8 or 9 in the campaign.
Right, yeah.
But starting them off level 1 with all their stuff missing, if they don't get all their stuff back by the time they finish their incarceration or whatever it is that's happening, in which they lost everything, maybe their house, their airship blew up and they had this abandoned ship and they lost all their stuff, maybe just give them some money. Like they just find some money and there's a town nearby.
Yeah.
Now they can just buy back the stuff that they want instead of picking, and that's even a little cooler.
That could be
than just your basic starting equipment.
Right.
Now it's like you've customized your character with the amount of equipment and make it a little bit more than what it was worth, because now they've overcome a challenge of getting out of whatever that situation was.
So playing that out, the airship goes down. They make a few saves. They're whatever. They're okay. Depending on how bad things are, then it's like they land. They're able to makeshift something, maybe either out of broken wreckage, or they do find like some equipment, but nothing great.
Right.
And then they run into like wild wolves or something like that, or wild wolves, like a pack of wolves or something, a quick encounter that they have to like figure out from there. But then they also realize like, oh, there's a town relatively close by, or people are walking by and they find like a popular road.
Right.
Then they can jump on that road. And then then they find, I don't know, 150 gold or something, or 100 gold or 50 gold.
Or maybe even a really cool magic item. Make them end up better than when they thought they were going to leave off.
Yeah.
When they had nothing. When they had their stuff that they started with, don't make the reward just getting back what they already had. That I have found out is not a rewarding feeling.
No.
It feels like you just dangled
not.
something in front of someone's face after stealing it from them and saying, you want it back?
You took away my humanity. The only thing you gave me back was my humanity. I want more.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
So, lesson learned.
Yeah. Any other fun little tropes?
I think that that covers really some of the biggest ones.
Right.
I guess the only other one we didn't really cover in any depth is just the obvious one, which we kind of mentioned before, which was start them off in a guild, start them off in some sort of organization. Yeah. And that's really just, if you're a new DM, that's probably the easiest way. If your DM didn't even ask for that, that's a good idea to just... You're trying to come up with your like little links that you have with other people in Mission Zero.
Yeah.
Maybe half of you are part of a guild and you guys came up with it and the DM didn't tell you to. Maybe you're all part of some sort of like, it can even be something really weird and lame or whatever, like an adventuring guild. Like some sort of like from Fable or something. It's like a guild of just heroes or something. Yeah. Or like... some sort of traders guild or something, and you're just all part of it. But you have that goal that launches you forward. That's players or DMs. Oh,
what if the guild had nothing to do with like fighting, or what if it was like a bridge club? You're just like, we're all part of we just play cards on Sundays,
right.
But the president of the bridge club, he goes down. And then now you're like, all right, we gotta go figure out what happened to...
Sounds like we gotta kill a big bad evil guy that destroyed our bridge club
Who's gonna
leader.
Who's gonna bring in the catering? Do you guys cater to bridge club?
And the internal conflict of who's the new leader of the bridge club amongst you. Oh,
bam.
Drama.
But now you make this like a bunch of older like adventurers.
They're just old grizzled old men.
The fighter sucks.
Right.
But the spellcaster, he's doing great. Just a little less HP.
Right. Yeah.
And Constitution. All right. You good?
Good.
All right. Guys, thank you for sticking around for our bantering McBantersons. And
yeah. I don't even know how long that video was. We don't have a time. Oh, I don't want to know.
It's 30-something minutes.
Oh, okay. Wow, I thought it was way longer than that.
Yeah. No, it's not bad. All right, guys. We'll see you on the next one.
See you when we see you.